courage, commitment, desire. This is the Blitz, baby!
I'm Travis Downey, and this is Will Parchman, and this is another week of the Northwest Florida Daily News' Prep Football Blitz, where we like to get you guys set for the Friday night that is coming up. And before we look ahead, big district games this week. Will, looking back to last week, what kind of stood out to you?
Freeport getting that big win over Baker, inching ever closer to that undefeated District 1A regular season record. First time they would have ever done it. They've already clinched the first ever district title in school history. So big doings over there in Freeport.
Big season for Freeport. Yeah. I'm looking at District 1A also, and I'm looking at South Walton. Double overtime win over Vernon, Jonathan O'Hara. The kicker, the big man on campus for the week, kicking that game-winning field goal, keeps them in line for their most successful season in school history, looking at 9 wins in the regular season, something no South Walton team has ever done before.
Right, definitely excited to get that done at South Walton this week. Starting off our slate of games this week, it's a big slate of games, starting with a couple teams that haven't had a whole lot to play for this season. FAMU going to Rocky Bayou. Now, FAMU has locked up a playoff berth, so they're basically playing this one for momentum. Rocky Bayou just playing to get a win.
Yeah, they're playing for pride at this point, as they have been most of the season, looking for that first win. FAMU is also playing to kind of get a chip off their shoulder, coming off of a big one-sided loss to Franklin County, 62-42. So they're going to be a little angry. I'm going to go with FAMU. I think school from Tallahassee is going to be a little bit too much for the Knights this week.
Yeah, I would definitely go with FAMU. I'm sure it was bad enough just the fact that they're getting a playoff team this week, and the fact that they're getting an angry playoff team this week is not going to be fun times. And at Rocky Bayou this week, definitely going with the 3-5 FAMU team. Next we got Jay at Baker. Again, a couple of teams scraping the bottom of the barrel there in 1A, kind of looking. Baker's still looking for that first win. Jay's already got theirs.
Jay got their first win in week 1, and then has proceeded to lose 6 straight. Right. Baker, meanwhile, looking for their first win. I'm going to go with Baker. The fighting Bob Kellogg's. I think this is the week they get it done. Veda Moore is one of the area's better athletes, and he's a young guy, but he can really run the ball. And when he's getting the opportunity, he's made some strides in the passing game. I just think that they've lost some players throughout the course of the season, some of their key cogs. They're a wounded bunch right now. I think Baker smells blood in the water.
Yeah, Jay not having Rush Hendricks for the last few weeks has really hurt them. You can see it in the scores that they've had. Baker's kind of been one of these forlorn groups where they've come really close against good teams and they've gotten blown out against bad teams, so you never really know what you're getting. This Jay team, I can definitely see Baker taking it, but I think Jay is going to pull it out. They are a big group, and they do like to pound the running game with that depth that they have. So a lot of seniors. I'm going to take Jay there on the road. Then we got Holmes County visiting Freeport, the aforementioned Bulldogs there, going for their final win against a team that hadn't gotten a whole lot done this year.
Now, Holmes County's won 2 ball games this year. I kind of see this, and next week, looking ahead with Rocky Bayou for Freeport, this is kind of like that victory lap for Freeport. I really think they'll take care of this one. I'm picking Freeport, obviously. I think they just had too much going for them all season long to let something like a Holmes County team come in there and slip up. So I'm going with Freeport.
Yeah, and if you've been paying any attention to Freeport this year, you know that they just don't take anybody lightly, regardless. They prepare the same way every week. So I would expect a big win for Freeport this week, and even more celebrating down the line as those records keep tumbling down. And then we got Walton at South Walton, big area battle. Essentially nothing on the line in this game other than bragging rights.
Exactly. And for Walton, they need something good to happen, because this is a team we've mentioned teams with tough luck. That's Walton in a nutshell. I was there last week, just a game that just fell apart for Walton against Wacola. The thing that stood out to me, Corliss Stone, he's a heck of a receiver, 145 yards. I think his athleticism, along with the way Liam Miller can pick apart a secondary, I think that's tips the pendulum, I guess, towards Walton. I'm going to go with Walton. I think it could be a pretty good game, though.
Yeah, I'll take Walton as well. I think their athleticism and size can't be underestimated. They are a 2B team playing a 1A team. I think you got to look at that as well. South Walton is a ball control offense, so if they can kind of establish some of that, I do like to see them. But I do think it's ultimately going to be Walton taking that one. Then we got Gulf Breeze at Choctaw. Coming into town, and Gulf Breeze is that's a forlorn program right now.
Yeah, 0 for season right now for Gulf Breeze, and it hasn't been close most of the time. This is a game. I guess you could call it a trap game for Choctaw, and that's 0-18. But Greg Thomas isn't going to allow that to happen, especially with the season these guys have had, going on the road, winning ball games, winning impressively at home. Choctaw, to me, they're going to win this game because Greg Thomas and that staff and those seniors aren't going to allow this team to overlook anyone right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're hammering home that Washington game from earlier in this year. That a Washington team that just wasn't that good came in, got up 16-0 on them, and they kind of had to rally, and it did end up winning the game. But I mean, with that result in their back pocket,
lesson learned.
Yeah, that is definitely a lesson learned. I don't think that's going to be the case this week. I think it's going to be a big win for Choctaw going into the playoffs there. Then we got Tate at Navarre. Tate team still fighting for a playoff bid. Navarre team that's been playing pretty well of late.
Navarre's been playing really well, especially defensively. I still like Tate in this game, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than maybe you would think looking at the records. I just think Navarre, they've really started to kind of find a groove, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, I'm going to go with Tate in this one.
I think Navarre really impressed me last week. I thought their game against Pace was just going to be a blowout.
Right.
It really wasn't. It came down to the last 5-10 minutes when Pace finally put it away. But on the back of that performance, if they can actually get some offense rolling there, I like them to pull the upset, but I don't think that's going to happen.
You have to avoid turnovers.
Yeah, you have to avoid those turnovers that they've been getting into. So I do like Tate as well on the road there. And then the big area game, the game that could tip scales in one direction or the other, regardless of how it goes. We got Crestview at Niceville. A lot of scenarios with this one.
Tons of scenarios. It's going to be a great game, I think. Niceville on paper would seem to be the clear favorite. I'm going to go with Niceville, but I think if Matt Brunson and that Crestview team can find a way to turn this into a running game, run-oriented game, punch in the mouth type of thing, I think it favors Crestview a little bit. Having said that, I'm going to go with Niceville. They got Roy Finch, they got Cody Williams. They've got Kyle McDormand, who is closing in on the school record for single-season touchdowns, just 2 shy. So I'm going to go with Niceville at home to get this and then secure a 6th district crown in 7 years.
Yep. And for Crestview, all these things about, what's the scenario with the shootout? How, there's no way they're worrying about that. They're just worrying about getting this win, getting Niceville, no longer undefeated in the district. That said, Niceville, I remember we said it right after that Lincoln game. Wouldn't pick against them unless they gave us a reason not to, and they really haven't to this point. Definitely taking Niceville there, but like I said, Crestview, they're just kind of the singular mind, focus on getting that win, pulling that out, and if they do, that's we're looking at a shootout.
Yeah, and if they don't, we're looking at a shootout that Crestview would likely host, given some things. But yeah, I mean, so win or lose, Crestview could be playing.
Right.
Both teams could still be playing for the round.
You never know. Well, that'll wrap up our edition of this week. Thanks so much for joining us. For Travis Downey, I'm Will Parchman.